and you join us live for round 10 of Knights Racing League Nights, the final round of the season here, season number 3. And you join us here, Misano Circuit, just a couple miles from the Adriatic Sea here in the Panhandle of Italy. It's a beautiful day for our season finale. Justin Wills, your pole sitter, and alongside him, AJ Patton in the GT3, Moreau and Wesley Barker line up in row number 2. Milwaukee and Dezo Covey bring up that third row as Joseo and Restrepo round out the back of your grid today. And there's a big points battle brewing here for GT3. Just 6 points between AJ Patton and Blake Milwaukee here for this overall title in GT3. And there's rumors about the paddock of potential espionage for this title. And will we expect to see contact between drivers here? Stories from the track. We've seen it be tricky with track limits so far, and will that come into play in the race? How will drivers manage the tires? We've seen a lot of tire drag throughout the week in practice and in qualifying. And Justin Wills, your former champion, taken out of this thing through a series of mechanicals and missed dates, but led much of the championship up until 3 rounds to go. Andrew now has a clear hold on Super Trofeo for this overall, but the battle between GT3 will still be raging for the championship, and we know that Wills still has a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. And they're creeping their way up to the final turn to take the start of race number 1. Waiting for the green flag. Flags up, throttles down for the second to last time here of the season. And Moreau looking to the inside of Wills. And Patton's going to be able to sweep around, hang on to second for now. As we look back through the field, Barker trying to get on the back of Moreau here, as Covey looking up the inside of Milwaukee. And can he really make a move into turn 4? He does not, as Wesley's out wide as we move back up. Will Patton look to make a move down into turn number 8? And late on the brakes, but a little late on entry too. And getting squirrely on the exit there. Can Moreau close into these front 2, or will they run away here on lap number 1? This GT3 car is much better under the brakes and in general through these high-speed sections. What will he be able to do coming down into the back straightaway? This high-speed sweeper, these Super Trofeos have looked super unsteady. Will this be a shot for AJ to come back? It doesn't look like it. Wills has done well to pull out early from this lead. And now Moreau closing onto the back of Patton. Running out wide, squirrely on the curb, down into turn 15 now. And Patton's out wide. Taking liberty with track limits here early. Coming around to complete lap number 1. In runs Wills, Patton, and Moreau, with Barker in 4th, Milwaukee 5th, and Covey 6th. And Barker's out wide into turn 2. Barker's out wide, and it doesn't look like anyone's gone past him. He's still going to hang on to 4th. Milwaukee wasn't close enough to capitalize. But he's all over the back of him now, and Barker's running wide again on turn 4. Milwaukee looking to the inside in 5. They're side by side. And Barker's going to have the inside. Milwaukee gives him way too much space, takes himself off the track into the rubber. Can he make a dive down into turn 8, down this long back straightaway? What can he do? And he's going to tuck in behind. Barker slightly defensive, Milwaukee slightly wide. Barker wide on the exit though. They're going to go side by side once again. And Barker going to defend. Milwaukee going around the long way now. Barker's going to cover him on the exit. Milwaukee's trying to click shallow as they go down the second long straightaway. And Milwaukee has just a nose in, but he's going to tuck in behind. And will they be able to keep the tighty through here wide open? What's going to happen into turn number 12? And Barker breaks a little early. Milwaukee around the outside again, but running off the track, having to really grab the brakes to avoid going off. And Barker's going to defend the position for now, place. Barker, of course, not been able to be with us for much of the season due to other racing obligations, but joining us here for the season finale in that beautiful purple Dark Horse Mustang, and he might be a dark horse for GT3. Milwaukee closing up in the braking zones here, but this looks like it's going to become a tricky circuit to overtake. Go back on board with Moreau, the 3 leaders, keeping it relatively spread, but all within touch. No one can make a mistake here. And speaking of mistakes, Milwaukee running out wide, taking all those sausage curves and starting to lose touch with Barker, who has been able to hold off the assault ever since that mistake into turn 1 on lap number 2. And Milwaukee with a much shallower line out at turn 8. Able to close up some time there. Moreau just in touch here with Patton. Will he be able to make a move here within a lap or 2? He definitely has the overspeed on the straightaways, but this has been a high-speed circuit when it comes to cornering, which doesn't favor him the most. And complaining all weeks, issues with tires heating up too much, and not sure if they were able to rectify that in practice or if that will be a theme through the race. Milwaukee still on the back of Barker as they come out of turn 16, but not close enough to make anything happen in turn 1. Milwaukee all over the back, glued to the bumper of Barker, and he's gonna tap him into turn 4, and he just makes slight contact there. Luckily, nothing comes of it. Barker's able to keep it going, and that was probably just the maximum amount of contact you could get away with without sending him flying out of turn 4 and into the wall. Milwaukee, as we know, very aggressive driver, and just riding that fine line once again tonight. Wills has now stretched that lead out to just under 2.5 seconds. Patton not able to have an answer, just like he wasn't in qualifying. Of course, didn't make it to practice. Still started on the front row regardless. We'll see if he will improve in the second part of tonight's race program, as Moreau now catching up as Patton slid through turn number 14. Patton using that curbing liberally into turn number 1. And contact there between Barker and Milwaukee, and we missed what happened. Kobe's going to go through, the benefactor of all of it, moving up into 4th. Not sure what we missed. And it seems like Barker got a bit sideways, really squirrely, and just collected the 2 of them. And that is not what Milwaukee needed on a night that is for the championship for him, as he's fallen back to 7th. And that is a critical change for the title in GT3. And Moreau now looking to close in on Patton here down the back straight into turn 12. Can he make a move into the braking zone at turn 13? He's looking to the inside, but he's going to have to brake earlier in that Super Trofeo. Not able to do anything yet, but closing in now. This is the closest he's been since the start of the race. AJ getting loose once again on the exit of 14. Struggling to get the power down without sliding. Barker trying to retake fourth place from our hard charger, Dezo Covey, in that Covey Racing Honda number 24. And Milwaukee diving into the pit lane now. Going to serve that stop early. And of course, needing to fix that damage from contact with the wall coming together there with Barker. And he's going to be in the pit lane for quite some time trying to fix that damage. This may have ruined his championship run. Your points leader in GT3. Has he lost it for now? And Restrepo closing right up on the back of Azael. And a battle brewing here for 6th place. And Azael out way wide in turn 10. Restrepo sliding in underneath. He's going to move up to 6. And they go side by side. Azael might have the straight line advantage here as they come into the sweeper. Azael way too wide. And Moreau sliding into turn 1, and he's off the circuit, bouncing back over those curves in turn 2, and he's now starting to lose touch with Patton. Dropping to 2.5 seconds now back. And Milwaukee exiting the pit lane now. And he's gone a lap down. He's fallen a lap down. Covey still in 4th. Barker now all over the back of him, both sliding out of turn 2. Barker sliding out of turn 3 too. And he needs to get that Mustang under control before it goes around into the grandstand. And Azael is now closing back up to Restrepo into the big braking zone, turn number 8, turn 9. And he's looking to re-overtake here. Went way wide through the sweeper on the back straight, but he didn't need to, and that probably cost him the position. And it seems like this Aston Martin may have the speed advantage over Restrepo's McLaren down the straightaways. Not sure if it's down to setup. No answer for him yet. And Patton's still doing well to keep in touch with the leader. But the team has messaged him with concerns over fuel. Have they underfueled the car, or has he run too long? He might have to fuel save here on this in-lap. And he may make it into the box on fumes. And this is his night to steal the championship away from Blake Milwaukee. But will a pit error cost him that opportunity? He has just half a lap to go, but it's all straightaway. What can he do? He'll be looking for every last drop out of this fuel system. Halfway through the race, if Patton can make it back, he'll have perfectly split the session, but he is just about limping now. Huge lifting coast for him. but AJ and Moreau both dive into the pit lane now. Moreau aggressive all the way up to the line, and he's going to jump him in the entry to the pit lane. He just closed up a 3.5 second gap in the pit lane. AJ didn't practice, and he must have missed where that pit limiter starts. And now he's been jumped. He's been jumped in the pit lane. As Covey dives into the pits as well, Barker going to retake fourth for now. Milwaukee coming back around, but of course, when a lap down, already took his stop. How will that crazy undercut work for him? Or will the damage have been too much? Restrepo into the pit lane now too. So all but 3 cars now sitting in the pit lane. And Moreau is out of the pit lane now. And where's Patton? Patton's still sitting in the pit lane. He's out now, but he's well behind. Moreau has worked a masterclass, and that Lamborghini team has done a fantastic job in the pit lane. With a little bit of smart driving from Moreau, they've now solidified second place for the time being. Where is Wills? Wills diving to the pit lane now, almost a whole lap up that these guys will have to now close down. Wills into the pit lane now. Was he slow enough? He looked fast coming in. We'll have to see. And Moreau a whole straightaway up on Patton now through that pit cycle. And a fantastic stop for that Lamborghini team as we see a penalty speeding in the pit lane for number 24, Dezo Covey, that Covey Racing Honda entry, just when things were starting to turn around for him. Mechanical issues with the braking system for every single weekend finally rectified, but the driver makes an error here in the pit lane. That's going to negate some of that success. Stop and go 30 seconds, that's all but going to take him out of this race. Zale leaving the pits now. Wills serving his stop. And Wills slides out of the box. And no penalty. He did not speed on pit lane, it just looked that way, but got the car slowed down in time, must have timed that to perfection. He's coming down the front straightaway now. And when will... And correction. Wills did speed on pit lane. The stewards took their time looking over the data, and he's also going to get a stop and go for 30 seconds. And the man who had run away early in this race and is still 7.5 seconds up has been taken out with a speeding on the entry of pit lane. But racers always want to compete, and it'll be disappointing that he won't be able to compete for this race win, as he's going to have to come down and serve that stop-go, as we see Covey already serving a stop-go. Barker, did he come into the pits? He's leaving the pits now, and Restrepo is right behind him. And this is for 4th place. Barker on cold tires. Can Restrepo do something? He has to do it now. But what Restrepo does is he previews the McLaren lawn mowing service for the 2nd time here in Italy, with a beautiful display out of turn number 4. But in all that, unfortunately, Barker has been able to get away from him now. And we know sponsorship obligations can be a strain on drivers, and we saw it really hurt Restrepo there, having to preview that service. And Will's electing not to serve that penalty quite yet. He's going to carry on only a couple more laps before the stewards are going to call him in and require him to serve that penalty. 7 seconds up the road, though, of Moreau. And Moreau built a huge gap to Patton that we saw in the pit cycle. And now it looks like this will be the race for the overall victory. As Covey running wide. And Barker now with a drive-through penalty. Could that be for track limits? as we see now, the race at all levels has been blown wide open. Milwaukee with early damage, and Covey and Wills with stop-and-go penalties for pit lane speeding, and now Barker with a drive-through for track limits. And through all this, once again, Andrew Moreau is looking poised to take the race lead. And what we've seen all season, and of course why he's been in this title fight and why he's now taking the lead. Not always the fastest driver on track, but he's always consistent. Not winning the most races this year. Well, that'll go to Wills, who's won 10. And Moreau with just half that, but he's been consistent. He's been clean. He's going to look to inherit another race lead, as Wills has just one more opportunity to serve that penalty, and he's elected to leave it out until the very end. And Barker serving his drive-through now. And Azale looks like he will go through and take 5th. So Barker will have some work to do when he comes back out. As we see Azale blasting now down into turn 1, Barker has to wait an eternity to get to this pit exit. And now Milwaukee coming down now as well. And Barker squirrely on the exit, super aggressive. And Justin Wills has been called to the steward's office immediately as he's been pulled off of the track. Didn't serve that drive-through in time, and the steward's not happy. And that means Moreau now has taken yet another race lead due to mistakes from his fellow competitors. Again, consistency is what breeds titles, and Moreau looks like he's on his way to the first ever 2-time title winner of our series. As we go back on board with Milwaukee, trying to keep in touch here with Barker, who had to serve that penalty now. Milwaukee thought he was going to have a lonely race after that damage. Of course, the man who gave him that damage is now just in front of him. And will any of that pent-up frustration come back, or will he have cooled down with the time remaining since that early incident? Milwaukee closing up a huge amount there through turn 14. Is he poised to make any kind of overtake into turn 1? Coming through this final complex of corners, and he's closed up big time. And will we see any retribution between the two of these? I'm sure there's no love lost. Milwaukee fighting for a championship. Barker here for the first time all season. Pat now has closed up 3 seconds since that pit stop. He was trailing 8.5. He's now got it down to just under 5. And he might see a late charge. Just 2.5 minutes left in the race. Can he make this happen? I don't think this gap is quite small enough, but he's proving a point on pace alone that he might be the deserving title winner for GT3. As we go back with your points leader, Blake Milwaukee, still trying to keep in touch, but Barker now has stretched that lead ever since taking that drive-through penalty. And Milwaukee really closing up on the exit. He's looking to the inside of Barker. Down into turn 1, Barker's going to run him narrow. And Milwaukee late on the brakes into turn 1, diving down. He's going to complete that pass. Barker looking to respond. Milwaukee running wide. Barker with the switchback. And Barker turns down right in front of him, and he spins himself out. He spun himself on Milwaukee's nose. Cut down right in front. And it looks like Milwaukee got his retribution without having to do anything. Barker thought he was clear. As we see Moreau now taking that final lap, sponsored by Credit One Bank. and he's up 3.5 seconds. Patton done well to close up this gap yet again, but I think he's just going to run out of time to make it happen. And he's been able to see Moreau the last couple of laps, and he's been charging hard watching that gap come down, but he's not going to be able to do anything about it, barring a mistake from Moreau. Patton running wide, trying to do anything to make a late charge. He's closed in another half second, but it's not going to be enough. Your champion-elect, Andrew Moreau, one more corner, and he's going to notch another win under his belt this season. Andrew Moreau kept it consistent despite not having the pace. He does what he needs to do, and he takes another victory here in Misano. As AJ Patton coming home in second overall and a lead for GT3. And how will that affect the points? Milwaukee able to bounce back to fifth. What will the point split be between the two of these going into the final race? And Restrepo is going to take home the final spot on the podium. Matthew Restrepo, one lap down, but going to get onto that step.